All right, it's time. It's time for Game 7. Will the Toronto Blue Jays channel their inner Toronto Raptors? Will they channel their inner Toronto Blue Jays? I mean, Toronto Maple Leafs. Hopefully, they have to channel in their inner Raptors. So, so I'm just going to give you the stats in the group. So this is the massive impact on everyone. Mariners, Blue Jays are going toe to toe. So as I said, will it be the inner Raptor, as in a decent Game 7 thing, 3-3, or will it be the inner Leafs, in which the Leafs were 12-9 in Game 7s, but since 2004, 0 Game 7 wins in 7 attempts. This is one for the ages. This has got to be one of the most improbable matchups around. The Blue Jays Mariners. People would never have predicted that the 1977 expansion cousins would go for the AL title and all that. As Sportsnet has the Vladdy Guerrero Jr. thing about 462, 6 home runs this postseason, 9 for 15 since Game 2 of the LCS. So basically, he's been hitting lights up and all that. So we'll see what happens. Of course, the Blue Jays, now the Mariners have changed their jerseys up. They're wearing their periwinkle blue, I think. Like, they're not emerald green, not gray, but they're blues and all that. 9 for 7, Josh Naylor, 3 home runs against the Blue Jays. If there's anyone who's going to kill the Blue Jays, it will be Josh Naylor. Not Cal Raleigh, not the big dumper, but Cal freaking Raleigh. Blue Jays have Shane Bieber on the mound against George Kirby. This is a gigantic Game 7. So give you a quick recap of where we've been and where we will go. So who's throwing the first pitch this time? Oh, Marco Estrada is throwing at the first pitch. So anyway, the Mariners trying to make the World Series for the first time in franchise history. In fact, they're the only team in Major League Baseball not to play in the World Series. I mean, as I said a few times, every other league, basketball, football, hockey, has at least 3 teams without making the final and all that. Of course, the fact of the matter is that, and the Blue Jays haven't been to the finals in 32 years. I was 8 years old when that happened. Can you imagine? I was 8 years old, and now 32 years later, we could do it and all that. Blue Jays won the AL East, beating the Yankees. Well, it was a tie, but because of head-to-head, the Blue Jays took care of that. And the Mariners won theirs to win their first AL West title since 2001, which was the second longest division title drought in the majors since the 6th division format came into play. Pittsburgh is the only team to have not won a division title in the 6th division era. And all that, but yeah, the Mariners and Blue Jays, this was the second fight and all that. 2022 in the wildcard series, the Blue Jays should have won Game 2 to force at least a tie-breaking Game 3, but it was not. So anyway, Game 1 saw the Mariners beat the Blue Jays 3-1 in a pitcher's duel. In fact, it was so brutal for the Blue Jays. They only had 2 hits and all that. And that was in the first inning and all of that. And then Game 2, with the roof open and the Leafs moving their game against the Red Wings up to 2 p.m. Eastern time instead of 4 p.m. Air had it going. Seattle and Toronto were tied 3-3 after 4 innings, but then Savage blew up in the 5th inning, and the Mariners took care of the business 10-3. Toronto beat up on Seattle in Seattle last Wednesday, 13-4, getting through all that. Seattle was up 2-0, but the Blue Jays didn't let anything get to them. Game 4 saw the Jays win 8-2 in Seattle. That ties the series. And Scherzer became the fourth starting pitcher at 41 years old or above to win the postseason game, with Roger Clemens, Kenny Rogers, and Dennis Martinez doing so. Clemens for the Yankees and the Astros, among others. Kenny Rogers, I think, for the Tigers. And then Dennis Martinez, once for Cleveland. Game 5 saw Seattle use 5 runs in the 8th, down 2-1. And then, everyone said that Cal Raleigh was Blue Jays have been too played to Cal Raleigh. I doubt that highly. So anyway, yeah. And now game 6, Toronto up 6-1, 6-2. It was a close one. Barger and Guerrero going DPD. What can you do? And now we have game 7, Kirby versus Shane Bieber. This is the first game 7 in Mariners history. This is the second played by the Blue Jays. Everyone thinks that the Blue Jays, this is their first ever game 7, but it's wrong. It is actually no. It is the second, because in 1985, the first time the Blue Jays played in the playoffs in the ALCS, they played game 7 against Kansas City. Of course, this was also the first year that saw the ALCS go to a best of 7 instead of best of 5. And the Blue Jays choked that 3-1 series lead and all that. The LCS, there were no game 7s in any LCS last year, but this year they've done it. So now it's Shane Bieber and George Kirby going toe-to-toe. We'll see what happens. Got a lot of game 7s and all that. So plenty of game 7s in the World Series and the ALCS and the NLCS. This is actually, where does this sound? This is the first time in a game. This is the first time a game, only one LCS had a game 7 in the same year, because 2020 and 2023, both the AL and NLCS went to game 7s and all that. So anyway, yeah, the last time the ALCS went to game 7, Texas crushed Houston 11-4 in Houston to do their job and all that. So yeah, it was Texas's second game 7 in history, and Houston's the 6th. The other Texas one was game 7 in 2011 when they lost the World Series to the Cardinals after choking game 6 away. Strosis was their 6th game 7. The Phillies Phillies 2023 made their first game 7 in history. Unbelievable, the Phillies of all franchises. So that's what you want to know, and that's what you're going to get. Game 7 starts in a few minutes because they set up an 8:10 start time, and the dome is closed. There was rain in the area today, so thus you practically know that you had to put the dome shut and all that. Pretty much a sellout by my guess. So yeah, Blue Jays versus the Mariners. This is huge. So yeah, big events going on. The Blue Jays wearing their whites, Mariners in blue. No major lineup changes for both teams. Their game 6 starting lineups are game 7 starting lineups and all that. So Seattle trying to change the jersey color to make things happen. The Blue Jays wearing their whites. We want it all born ready. Well, whoever wins will have 3 days of rest before going to the World Series. Seattle has Julio Rodriguez playing center, Cal Raleigh catching, Josh Naylor first, Harley Polanco DH, Randy Arozarena left, Jeannie Suarez playing third, JP Crawford short, Leo Rivas playing second, and fifth, Alba is playing right. Ken Zone, Master Buoni, Garver, and Ford are on the bench. Oh, Ken Zone's out. I just noticed that Ken Zone's not in right field. They changed the right fielder. I didn't even know. So yeah. Oh yeah, Robles. So Robles is back. So yep. So basically we're live now, and they'll be starting the first pitch coming up shortly. It is a tight game. It is 0-0. So anyhow, the Mariners looking like they want to get through. Cal Raleigh is in the on deck circle. He bats second. Blue Jays not making any major changes in their starting lineup. As for yesterday, they could. Like Miles Straw has been pretty much a big defensive person and all that. Flatty Jr. getting encouragement from the umpire, which I don't know, kind of stinks to high heaven, but anyway. The fans are just out in droves and all that. The light blue shirts in the backdrop and all that. Here's J-Rod. First pitch is a ball. So anyway, J-Rod is not batting that well in the postseason. 186 below the Mendoza line. 3 homers, 8 RBIs, and he will lace a double. So J-Rod is going to get a double out of this. So what an auspicious start for the Blue Jays. J-Rod getting the double. So anyway, yeah. J-Rod down the third base line. And that'll be a double. Anyway, so Cal Raleigh, big dumper as they call him, he's going to be up at the plate. Mariners are batting 229 runners in scoring position. That's kind of low. 250 is normally a decent average. All that. Cal Raleigh, 302, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs. He's had 3 of those 4 home runs against us. And away, ball 1. Bieber's got to be a little nervous. I mean, he did pitch in Seattle, but now he's got to pitch at home. Cal Raleigh's got good numbers, as Sportsnet says, against the Blue Jays. 14 home runs in 32 games, including the postseason. So we'll see what happens. Pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Of course, always to note, I don't have the actual game audio on in the background because I don't want YouTube and Major League Baseball to get pissy at me, so I can't take that chance. Oh, a nice try by Bieber to pick off J-Rod, but he ain't going to do that. Of course, Bieber has to be careful because another disengagement and all that could lead to a balk or a ball. That was kind of a high throw by Bieber. He could sense J-Rod doing something about it. 1-1 pitch. Raleigh taps it to foul. That was foul. I don't know if Flatty wanted to pick that ball up or not. It was right at him. Not really, yeah, because then that prevents J-Rod from going to third base. And remember, it has to pass a base. It has to pass the base before we call it fair. Yeah, Flatty let it go foul. He would have had to out it first for sure. Now let's see what the 1-2 pitch comes into play. Yep, good call on Flatty to let it go foul. Hopefully that works, Blue Baseball fan. And that's wide ball 2. So Blue Jays trying to erase their Game 7 demons from 1985 when Jim Sundberg hit a bases-clearing triple into the wind and won the game 6-2 for the Royals, who then won the World Series controversially, of course, because of Dinkinger's shenanigans in Game 6. I think some people probably think that it was because he was an AL umpire. Ball 3. I mean, if Dinkinger was an NL umpire, who knows? But nonetheless, it's payoff and Naylor is on deck. He always is. So let's see. Pitch. Raleigh to right, into the stands. That's a foul ball. Yeah, played 98 Yankees, 67 Cardinals. Was it a pitcher's duel? Like I just give like one question. Was it a pitcher stool or not? Because I want to know. I've got to know. Anyway, for 7 innings, yes. Yeah, I guess you're right. And then it went off Crawford. Up, swing and a miss. Got him. Beautiful. Big strikeout there. And that was a smart move by Flatty because now J Rod will have to be on second with 1 out. Wells versus Gibson. I would have went Cone versus Gibson. But then again, you're right. Yeah, David Wells did pitch from 98, and then he went to the Blue Jays for Roger Clemens. That was the big part of the deal. I mean, yeah, I know Homer Bush went to the Blue Jays and all that, but like that was huge. How Toronto gave up on Clemens and traded him to the Yankees. I mean, he got 2 Cy Youngs for the Blue Jays, and yet he couldn't finish it off. Josh Naylor, 3 home runs in the postseason, all of them against T-Dot. He'll have to disengage to second, but be careful. If he disengages again, that could be either a balk or a ball. But yeah. Julio Rodriguez is not to be messed with. He is a pretty good player. 1-0. Naylor foul. No reaction by the camera crew. That basically means a strike. So, of course, Sportsnet and Fox will probably have different camera angles and all that, I think. I know Fox has this game, the main network, Fox has this game with Joe Davis and John Smoltz being there, Naylor will disengage. His 1 batter disengage. Joe Davis must be really happy because his beloved LA Dodgers, his main play-by-play team is the Dodgers, and they're in the final against either Seattle or Toronto. So he's got to be a little bit happy and all that. Of course, taking over for Joe Buck in 2022. Pitch in the way. Way wide. 2-1. One thing I noticed for 76 Reds and 67 Cardinals, they did not face a left-handed pitcher in the World Series. I keep thinking Jim Lomberg was a lefty. I guess not. And the Reds, for the 67 Red Sox, 76 Yankees. I'm surprised. I thought the 76 Yankees had 1 lefty in their rotation. I guess not. Well, that's high ball 3. I think they had a 3-man rotation in a sense. 3 balls, 1 strike to Naylor. So Naylor's got to be a little careful. Well, that's through the whole base hit. J-Rod is going for the play. He will be up the line, safe. And the Mariners are up 1-0. So Josh Naylor is screwing over his hometown team. That's kind of the whole MO, I guess, if you can call it that. Bieber threw the curveball, but Naylor found it and just passed Flatty's glove. Flatty had tipped it. You get him out at first, runner on third with 2 outs, but that's the first run of the game. Polanco takes a strike. Jorge Polanco, former Twin, 205, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. Okay, 5 of his 8 postseason RBIs are against the Blue Jays. Of course, it's a little biased because, this is 7th game against Toronto. Seattle's played 5 against the Tigers. That series can only be 5 games. So this is interesting. Of course, Cleveland baseball fan, several former Cleveland Indians / Guardians on the Blue Jays roster, including Bieber, Jimenez, and Straw. Ooh, why did they not give him that? Ball 2, 2-1. Mariners just scored first. J-Rod with a double and a RBI single by Naylor, of all people, of course, and Ernie Clement. Oh, yeah, Ernie Clement. That's right. He was a Guardian. That's right. Okay. Thanks for reminding me. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know if you can hear it behind me. There are fireworks going off. Strike 2 on that one. The reason why there's fireworks is because it's Diwali. I think it's only Naylor on the Mariners. Right. Josh Naylor, former Cleveland Guardian. Yeah. like if you hear fireworks and all that, don't be alarmed because it's Diwali, aka the Festival of Light. And Kitchener's gotten a lot more of the Indian population than you think. Tutu. Well, as in from India, not native. I gotta clear myself up on that one because there'd probably be some confusion. Anyway, a payoff pitch to Polanco. Arozarena, the former Tampa Bay Devil Rays star who played for the 2020 Rays in the World Series, he is on deck. And of course, a lot of people probably think that this is game over. This is not game over. It's 1-0 in the first inning. Here's Polanco. They go for Naylor, and he slides back safely. Naylor is not at 100% with his speed, I think. Yeah, so Bieber and all that. He's thrown 19 pitches in the first inning. That's not really the best. 20 pitches per inning is not really a good number because, in 5 innings, he'll throw 100. Tapper, this could be a double play. Oh, no, and the ball goes off the helmet and all that of Naylor. But I think, what a mistake. What a mistake on that throw. It hit Naylor in the helmet. Now, are they going to take a look and see if Naylor kind of interfered with the throw? Oh, they're going to take a look. Obviously, the lead runner is out and then off of the helmet. But the question on my lips is, are they thinking that the Naylor did jump into it? Watch. Okay, let's see the replay. And, well, Naylor jumped into it, but, I think the whole thing is he was trying to avoid the throw. No, Naylor probably thought like they were going to throw to the right of him and all that. Naylor did jump into it. So, looks like nothing. Oh, they're still discussing it. Remember, it's 6 umpires in postseason play instead of the 4. You have the home plate umpire, the first base, second base, and third base umpire. You have one down the lines, left and right. Naylor. I think they're looking to see if Naylor made a concentrated effort. All that. Schneider's thinking about it. They are discussing it. I mean, logically, when you get hit by a ball, if you're running, then you're out. But also, it's not as bad as the Reggie Jackson hip play in 1978 against the Dodgers. Sure, A-Rod will have something about it, but he slapped the ball out of Bronson Monroe's hand. Yeah, A-Rod, that was blatant. And they are going to call a double play, I think. Yep, they're calling a double play because he didn't make enough of an effort to get out of the way. So that probably would have been a double play anyway. But the Mariners do score a run, so at least Seattle gets something out of it. All that. Like, I can understand the argument from Dan Wilson is that Naylor didn't intend to go into the throw and all that. But, run's a run. So Seattle is up 1-0 on that one. So, anyway. RGL right now, Braves are winning 2-1. They're trying to force at least a game 6 in the series to make it a best of 3 between the Astros and Braves and all that. My theory is that, I think it's 2-3-2 with RGL. So he'll probably do game 5 of the ALCS and game 5 of the NLCS and then have the hiatus for the travel date. But anyway, so, it's nerve-wracking for me because, the whole thing. Go with what you know. Yeah, so hopefully the Blue Jays can bounce back. It is only 1-0. And remember, they were down 2-0 in game 3 when everyone thought it was deja vu all over again. But it wasn't deja vu. Blue Jays trying to do have their own good Game 7 history, like the Raptors. I mean, the Raptors have been to 6 Game 7s in their history. They lost the first one in 2001 in Philadelphia. That was when Vince Carter missed the winning shot that would send the Raptors to the Eastern Finals against Milwaukee in 2001. Probably would have been mincemeat by the Lakers, but nevertheless. And then in 2014, their second Game 7 in history, the Raptors, they lost to Brooklyn, which was on ABC, and Paul Pierce with that block. And then the Blue Jays got 3 straight Game 7 wins. 2 in 2016 when they were chasing for the Eastern Crown. We'll get to that a little later. Starting lineup, you'll have George Springer, Nathan Lucas, Vladdy Guerrero Jr. will DH left field, first base. Alejandro Kirk catcher, Dalton Falshero center, Ernie Clement playing third, Addy Barger playing right, IAKF, Isaiah Kenner for left second, and Andres Gimenez shortstop. Loberfido, I have to go backwards. Stop. Okay, so on the bench, Loberfido, Heineman, the backup catcher, and Strad Schneider. David Schneider. I haven't seen David Schneider all series. That's kind of awkward. But yeah, George Kirby on the bump. He was facing Shane Bieber in Game 3 when Bieber started. Naylor is a little bit smiling about it. That's okay. But at least the Mariners scored a run. So, will that be the TSN turning point? We don't know. Yep, a lot of fans in left field trying to get into the TV cameras. See the backdrop, a lot of people wearing light blue and all that. One guy wearing a red Blue Jays shirt, but at least it's Blue Jays. Pitching the way. In on Springer, and the fans are miffed because of the ball that hit his knee in Game 5, and everyone thought that was kind of awkward. Everyone thought that Springer would miss Game 6 because of that ball off the knee, but he didn't. He played yesterday. Inside on him, again, ball 2, and the fans are like going, nah. Springer, 233, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs in the postseason, 2 home runs in the ALCS. So, yeah, you know about that. Yeah, A-Rod's thing was blatant. It was very blatant. It's like Reggie in 1978 with the ball off the hip, and that helped the Yankees before. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, the Yankees were down 2-0 in 78 when they made the rally. And then 1981, revenge happened because they were up 2-0, and the Dodgers came back for 4 straight. 2-1. Springer foul. Yeah, I think, right? Or was it 78? I think the Yankees were was it 1-1 after the first 2 games in 78, or was it 2-0? I feel like it was 2-0 for the Dodgers. I know Bob Welsh struck out Reggie Jackson to end one of those 2 games. I think it was 1-1 though too. Then that ruins my point. Kirby throws wide, 3 balls, 2 strikes. So Kirby will have to figure out how to stop Springer and all that for obvious reasons. The payoff. Springer looks at ball 4, that's wide, and he's on. That will bring Lucas to the plate. So, yeah, Nathan Lucas. What a story for Nathan Lucas. 10 years in the minor leagues, and then the past 3 years he's gotten into the majors, finally. Over 130 games with the Blue Jays, mostly with Santander being injured. He's had to play. So, yeah, George Springer, the big pickup in 2021 just after COVID. And everyone thought he was worth the price of the free agency move. I think so. When he's healthy. Ball away, Lucas 343 with 7 RBIs. Only 2 of them in the ALCS. Surprised he had 5 RBIs against the Yankees. Well, of course, the Blue Jays have only had 2 playoff rounds against the Yankees and the Mariners have 2 playoff rounds, Tigers and Blue Jays. That's 99 in the zone, strike 1. He has a 5-game hitting streak. Do we really care about hitting streaks in the postseason? I think once it hits double digits, we should. But, this is me. 1-1 on the way. He goes for it. 97. Oh, fuck. And Arozarena makes the catch in left field. And now here comes Vladdy Jr. He was basically the main reason why the Blue Jays got past those Yankees in the first place. I mean, you know how hated the Yankees are. You'd be thinking, well, Blue Jays Red Sox is a classic rivalry. It's not as bad as Blue Jays Yankees. I mean, Red Sox, yeah, are rivals, but I tend to come more hatred towards the Yankee fans. Vladdy Jr. at the plate. 99 just on the tip of the strike zone. 462, 6 home runs, 12 RBIs. With 3 home runs in the ALCS, although those are his only 3 RBIs in the ALCS have come via the home run, solo home runs at that. Surprised he didn't go for that one. That was kind of in the zone. Vladdy trying everything in his power, knowing that the Blue Jays need runs when they need them. 0-2. Yeah, well, that's a base hit. And because it's in left field, Springer will obviously hang on at second. So it's a single for Vladdy. First and second. And here comes Alejandro Kirk, who's been basically hot and cold. I basically call him hot and cold throughout the postseason. See what he can do. Good pitch by Vladdy. He saw it. He couldn't lift it up for a home run, but he'll swing at it through the shortstop hole. First and second. So, you never know what could happen. And now Alejandro Kirk is coming to the plate. I don't know what the delay is, in a sense. Well, anyway, Blue Jays are 242 with runners in scoring position. So, a little bit higher than the Mariners. But anyway, here's Kirk. 223 home runs, 7 RBIs. He hit 2 home runs against the Yankees on playoff opening day. And other than that, he has been nothing. Oh, that gets away, but Raleigh keeps it in front of him. That was huge because if it goes behind him, you're probably going to get a runner on third no matter what. Well, one of the runners would have gotten it bounced. Maybe both, but you'll never know. It just bounced out of his glove, but he kept it in front of him, and the runners wouldn't move. So now they're going to talk to Kirby and all that. I don't know how short of a leash these Game 7 starters will be on, because the Mariners have to think about who they're going to start against the Dodgers. The Blue Jays, my guess is Gossman will start Game 1 and Yusavich will start Game 2 and all that. They'll get ample time. Like Gossman pitched last Friday and Trey pitched yesterday, but Trey will have, less than a week. But, you usually have less than a week in a sense. So, of course, the big stat is if the Blue Jays win because they narrowly beat LA for the amount of wins, then the Blue Jays will actually get home field for the World Series because the past few years, of course, it's most wins by a regular season team of any of the 2 regular season teams gets the trip to the final, gets to host. Ooh, ball 2. Well, the Blue Jays, yeah, they beat the Dodgers. It was a seemingly innocuous game in August when the Blue Jays won in the 9th. Yeah, it's a strike. 98. So, anyway, 2 balls, 1 strike. Yeah, wearing Blue Jays. Here. A little high on that curveball. 3 balls, 1 strike. This would be big if they walk Kirk because that brings. I say Barger, but I'm probably wrong. No, Varsho. Yeah, it brings Varsho to the plate. 3 balls, 1 strike. 1 out. Pitch in the way. Ooh, just snuck into the strike zone. Kirk was walking towards first base. That wasn't a bad idea because Varsho on deck. Because, if it is a strike, then you got to go back to the plate. But you'll have a payoff pitch coming from Kirby. He had it in the strike zone. Naylor is going to make an attempt, but it's foul into the stands. That's his 18th pitch of the inning. So, yeah, both teams are working the pitchers with pitches and all that. And like I said, I don't know how short the leashes will be in a sense because, you never know what could happen. Well, it's first and second. One out. Here comes the pitch to Kirk. Kirk fouled her off. It's a nerve-wracking day in Toronto and all that. Because, Toronto has had histories with Game 7s at home. Well, with the Leafs, they hosted Game 7 against the Panthers at home in the NHL playoff second round. So you never know what could happen. Yeah, you got to go for it. That's a strikeout. Well, that sucked. Now Farshaw will come up to the plate. Jays need something. So, yeah, tomorrow's supposed to be late rain in KDOT. So, let's see what happens here. Mayor Olivia Chow. All right, let's see what Farshaw can do here. Now he took a weird swing, and that would have been a ball. Farshaw 252 and 7 RBIs in the postseason. In the ALCS, he's been nothing. 3 for 24. That hurt. Lions lead the Bucks up a half, 14-3. That's good news for my pick 'em because I went with the Lions. On home turf, Farshaw up the middle, base hit. They're gonna try to score. Sprayer to the plate, and we are tied. Stadium cheers! Yay! Farshaw does prove that you may have a bad batting average headed into a game, but one big hit makes it all. So it's 1-1, and now Ernie Clement is coming to the plate. So, yeah, Farshaw does that. Nicely done up the gut. And Springer doesn't have the best arms in the world, the legs in the world, but he's tied it at 1. So, eye for an eye. Nice hit by Farshaw, proving me wrong. So it's 1-1 through in the bottom of the first. Here's Clement. Swing and a miss. That's Kirby's 23rd pitch of the inning. Kirby, it's like Clement, 447, 7 RBIs in the postseason. Not bad in the ALCS. 8 for 24. 2 doubles, a triple. Too bad he hasn't had a home run. But we'll see what happens. 0-1. Chopper fell into the Blue Jays dugout on the third base line. As I said, if the Blue Jays win, they have the most. They do have home field for games 1, 2, 6, and 7. If it's the Mariners, the Dodgers have more wins than the Mariners. So that means LA will have home field for 1, 2, 6, 7, just like last year. Clement, the center, J-Rod back. Nonchalantly makes the catch. Kirby gets out of the mess, but the Blue Jays do put a run on the board themselves. So it's tit for tat. 1 for Seattle, 1 for Toronto, 3-1. This will be a very tight game, maybe. Braves are looking pretty good to tie the series in the RGL thing and all that. So McGlinchey and the Braves, you know how it is. Got a lot of things going for us. The mustache. So this is big. Of course, I got to go to work tomorrow. So yeah, we have all that. Going to put a video in the thing because I actually made history in a sense. Yep, I made history. Oh yeah, I forgot I had caps lock up. Wow, starting pitching, the Blue Jays ERA is much better than the Mariners ERA. It's just basically been the bullpens. And one guy in particular, Brandon Little. So yeah, the Blue Jays fans probably are cursing the name Brandon Little because if it wasn't for his goofy eighth inning against the Mariners in Game 5, the Blue Jays would be off to the World Series, probably. But you never know. Baseball is a funny game sometimes. It's 1-1 through 1, and now here comes Arezarena at the dish. Back. And that's a strike. Oh, that was out of the strike zone by my theory. Anyway, Arezarena batting only 182 with 2 RBIs. He has crossed the plate 7 times in the ALCS. Basically, it's its speed. And you know how they say, speed kills. Asked the Blue Jays in 1989 against Ricky Henderson. Because Ricky kept stealing on the Blue Jays. Like Ernie Witt couldn't get anything going with the throws and all that. And that was Ernie Witt's last time as a Toronto Blue Jay was 1989. Pitching the way. Not saying that contributed him leaving the Blue Jays, but I mean, 12 years with the same team is pretty impressive. Ernie Witt, I think, was he on the 91 World Series roster for the Braves? I know he was with the Braves in 91, but I don't know if he was on the World Series roster. That would have been weird. Anyway, 2-2. Let's look at just under Jimenez's glove. Just under the glove. And all that. Bad luck. That was just under his glove. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, the in-between hop and kind of skidded past Jimenez's hand. Well, he knocked it down enough that Arozarena couldn't get past first base. So now we got Genie Suarez. Basically, he's the reason why there's a game 6. Oh, well, why the Mariners were up 3-2, headed back to Toronto. His 2 home run, 5 RBI day on Friday was massive. Well, he's batting 209 in the postseason with 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. 2 of the 3 were done against the Blue Jays on Friday. Pitch on the way. He will drop a base hit. And Arozarena knows that the ball's right in Marshall's place, so he'll stay at second. So now you got Crawford, who has not really been batting that well, batting only 189. Nice pitch, but Suarez kind of saw that coming. So, yeah, a lot of things happening. But if sports, of course, we all know that the Lions are leading the Bucks right now in Monday Night Football, the first of the 2 Monday Nighters. I know Houston, Seattle plays. I guess they'll play at 10, right? Squeeze butt. And only one play. Arozarena is a speedster. So Crawford does his job as an SH on your scoreboard. Sacrifice hit. And now Rivas, who was the toast of Seattle for that pinch hit that tied the game against Detroit in Game 5 of the LDS at 4 extra innings. It's coming to the plate. Bieber knows he's got a runner in second and third, so he needs to get rid of Rivas. I mean, he has to basically take out those runners in scoring position of the Mariners, just like the Bieber has to do it just like Yusevich did with those 2 double plays with the bases loaded. Rivas is 1 for 10 in the ALCS with 4 walks. 4 strikeouts. He does have 1 RBI, and that was the RBI that tied the game against Detroit and forced extras. Rivas foul. 1-2. So, yeah, football, we have, it's a double dip. Houston, Seattle is at 10 o'clock. So, obviously, I won't be able to stay up for it. I live in the Eastern time zone. And basketball tomorrow will start up right on time tomorrow. Hockey, well, I got to get into the hockey stuff. I didn't really talk about hockey yesterday during my stream, all that. I really feel like if I talk about hockey, all this. But yeah, let's see what Rivas does here. Oh, he got him chasing. Don't go chasing waterfalls, because you just did. Rivas out, and now here comes Robles. Yep. Big strikeout there by Rivas. Off of Rivas. I say soy Rivas, more like. If you're a Degrassi fan, you know the reference. But anyway, here's Robles. Yeah, it's kind of puzzling why Robles wasn't in the series as a starter sooner. Canzone was nothing. Chopper. Just throw the first. You just need it out. There we go. And Bieber does what Savage does. Make sure that nobody crosses the plate in scoring position this time. What a job by Bieber. Second and third, and nothing happens. Now let's see if the Blue Jays get momentum. I was thinking the exact same thing, Cleve baseball fan. Yep, Atlanta looks like they're going to take care of business against Houston, force a game 6. So hockey. I guess I'll give a quick run through of the hockey. I should have did yesterday's stuff. Yesterday's games. Well, yesterday there were 4 games. Vancouver beat Washington 4-3. That's a big one. Detroit beats Edmonton 4-2. That's big because, that's freaking Connor McDavid losing to Detroit. Chicago won in overtime over Anaheim, and Utah beat Boston 3-2. Well, there are some games today. There are 5 of them. 3 games are going on right now. Minnesota Rangers after 2 periods is at 1-1. We'll look at Game Center for that. Second intermission, Phillies crushing Seattle in the fine powder 5-2, which the Leafs could have done that on Saturday. Buffalo Montreal's 1-1 in the second period. That game's on Prime, Amazon Prime. So, if you don't have Amazon, you're not going to get that game. Winnipeg Calgary will be coming up at 9:30. Winnipeg 4-1, Calgary 1-5. And of course, Carolina Vegas, the battle of the undefeateds. Carolina and Vegas are combined 9-0-2. As Carolina's 5-0, Vegas 4 wins and 2 tie. Well, 2 overtime/shootout losses, I should say. Oh, there's a nice screen. Ernie Clement career average with Cleveland and Oakland 204, 21, and 22. And then since 276 with the Blue Jays, 2023 to 25, and the postseason 436. So that's a nice graphic. Leafs host the Devil Dogs, who are 4-1. That's tomorrow. So yeah, Carolina and Vegas. That should be an interesting game because you have 2 undefeated teams against each other. Minnesota Rangers, Panarin Bread with a goal last night Saturday to save the Rangers in Montreal. He scored, and Jonas brothers tied it at 1. Flyers, Seattle. Flyers are up 5-2. Seattle goes by Jordan Eberle, the ageless one, and Yanni Neiman. Philly goes by Owen Tippett, Tyson Forster, Travis Konecki, Noah Cates, and Owen Tippett again. Buffalo Montreal is tied 1-1. Oli Kapanen, he's been on fire, 4 goals for Montreal in the first 4 games. And Yuri Kurlich for Buffalo. We'll have another NHL update later on in the day. Addy Barger at the plate, 281 in the postseason, 250 in the ALCS. All his homers and RBIs have come in the postseason have come in this series, not against the Yankees. And a strike by Kirby, 1-1. Eddie Barger's had 8 extra base hits against the Mariners in 13 games, including this series, of course, because we've played the Mariners 6 times in the regular season, 6 in the postseason. Just foul. That would have been huge if that was fair. But it's not fair. It's not fair. Yeah, so I've got video editing to worry about a little bit later because I gotta edit the OTP games. I have to do. Was there another one I was looking forward to doing, or am I just off? I'm looking at my Bandicam. Yeah, I have to do a Degrassiism. Oh yeah, the football. I did something unusual. Barger, L2. So what I did was I did to the Doug Martin tribute game like I promised last night. At the butt end of the stream, I talked about Doug Martin and the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer and Boise State Bronco, one of the best Boise State running backs before Ashton Gentry. Barger up the gut, but right at Crawford. Skip throw. Lucky for them, it was an out. That almost bit them in the butt. So Kiner Falefa is coming to the plate. So yeah, he had a skip throw. Boing. Ugh, good thing Naylor dug it out because that would have been disastrous for Seattle. But yeah, Doug Martin. But then I found out that a AFL icon by the name of Warren McVeigh, he died too. And, he was part of the Chiefs in Super Bowl IV. So I set up a matchup between McVeigh's Super Bowl IV winning team, the Chiefs, against the 2012 Tampa Bay Buccaneers on 2nd and 10. And it was a blowout. Kiner Falefa, the guy who we picked up from waivers, trying to see if he was the right move. And, how did Naylor manage to catch that? That's like a football catch. 2 down. Rats. Because, he's running at that speed, and where's the glove? There's the glove. Now, Jimenez comes to the plate. Good swing at that ball. Naylor, oh yeah, he knew he had to make that catch. So it's Jimenez, and he takes the first pitch, shortstop. JP's going to have to throw it quickly. Not even close. Smart move. That is a nice single to where nobody seemed to be. Crawford would have probably had the tough throw. I think it's a single. Well, let's see what Springer does. Springer walked his first at bat. Now watch this. Right in the shortstop, deep in the hole. Crawford, good throw, but he was flying down the first base line. If it wasn't for that, he would have been out, third out, and Kirby would have had his 1-2-3 inning, but he won't. Here's Springer. Too high. So 1-1 tie here in Toronto. Winner goes to the World Series against the Dodgers. There's no tomorrow and all that. Well, there will be a tomorrow and a Wednesday and a Thursday. Inside on them, ball too. Until Friday, World Series starts Friday no matter what. Of course, Friday and Saturday are games 1 and 2. And then next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 through 5. And then the next Friday and Saturday is 6, 7. Catch in the way. Springer, that should be easy. It is a 5-3 put out. Nothing doing for the Blue Jays, but nothing doing for the Mariners either. Is he done? Yeah, I think that is he rolling? Yeah, I think he has to roll because there we go. Big one, but not buff. 2-5, 1-2, and that would be Now what? A 3. I don't know what that means in a sense. I don't know what he's talking about. Is that game over? Yep. Braves have tied the series. He's put the 2 on the Braves. Oops. One string down. And to go. So, yep. Atlanta ties that series in RJL. So, anyway, that's ball game for RJL. Another casserole thing with the chips and all that. Kind of cool. What my man did. All that. So, yeah. Pinto beans, Pillsbury croissant things, and, the kidney beans and all that. He made a lot. I definitely can't eat all that in 9 minutes. By substances. From the beautiful Rogers Center, formerly known as the Skydome, till 2005 when Rogers bought the team and they put the stadium named after the team. So it was a Skydome for 15 years, and then in 2020, the Rogers Center name surpassed the Skydome name. There are people that still call it the Skydome, obviously. I have a tendency to call it the Skydome too. Well, Skydome was the name in MVP Baseball 2005, one of the best games I ever played, console games I ever played for the piece for baseball. Well, here comes J Rod. Ouch, off the foot, but that was foul. So yeah, Seattle and Toronto expansion mates 1977. I don't know. I think that might be the. I gotta think. Was that the? How many other times in history have expansion mates met in a LCS? I know the Astros met. So I'll just post it in the. So I'm just going to post the question in the Facebook group. I mean, not the Facebook group. I'm going to post it in the YouTube studio, the chat. Here you go. Expansion mates being LCS besides Seattle, Toronto. Can think of one. Like I can think of one. Like they have to be the same. They have to come into the league at the same time, and all that, and play in the LCS and all that. I can think of one. So, yeah, I think of one off the top of my head. Oh, did he go? No. Oh. Actually, hang on. Oh, no, sorry. I was going to say I found another one. Nope, I didn't. Ooh, that's close. He just pulled it back for across the plane of the plate. Trying to get in the chase, but he ain't doing that one. Let's see here. I think no. J Rod, that is foul. Oh, it's foul. Was that the right call? Yep, that was wide of the that was wide of the foul line. It just landed on the other side of the foul line. That was that was too close to call. Obviously, it's like the play is live. You're not gonna look and say, "Oh, there's a spot." Clement was an explanation, but yeah, it was past the third base bag and landed foul. Chopper foul again. So yeah, so bad break for the Blue Jays. I think they would have got him out. So yeah, I think that's only been done once before. Oh crap! Oh crap! Oh crap! Well, the best center fielder in Mariners history, except for Griffey, may have just sunk Toronto's thing. Well, halfway to the cycle. Oh, he's got a homer and a double. Triples are not always easy to come by, though. Oh, man. Bieber had it in his hands. Well, that was not in the strike zone, but he doesn't care, and he just pulls it to left center field, 2-1. And the fans gonna throw it back. Bieber hung that pitch. And I guess so. And a nice flip from Flatty to Bieber, 3-1. Big Dumper's out. But then again, it's only the third inning, so like it's only one run, so I'm not too panicking about it yet. I wish I had a heart rate monitor. It'd probably be low right now, but once the innings keep keep going and going and going, going and going and going, it'll be higher up. But whatever, I'm not too panicky again. It's 2-1 Mariners. Naylor to right, and it hangs up there for Barger, 2 down. Yeah, when Santander was healthy, he was playing left. Right field was by Lucas, and Barger was playing third instead of Clement. Well, sorry, and Clement was playing second instead of IKF. But yeah, it's only 2-1, and it's only the third inning, so I'm not too panicky yet. If that is like the final 3 innings, then you got to panic, but it's not yet to be had that if you're going to be nervous about it, or you should be nervous about it. Hint, you shouldn't be. Here's Polanco. It hits the dirt. Fortunately, there's no one on base, so it doesn't matter. 2 balls, no strikes. Blue Jays trying to keep composed and all that. Obviously, you would. That's a strike. 2-1. So yeah, 2 balls, 1 strike. Everyone from work is going to be headed back home to watch this game because our store closes at 9. So that's that. So anyway, that's a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two pitch. Now you hung it, but that's too high. Ball 3, 3-2. Blue Jays are trying everything in their power to stop their expansion mates from getting to the World Series under their guidance and all that. Lots of dinging going on. Blanco fell long. So yeah, so I will draw 7 cards to be drawn for from the 2025 Topps Heritage and all that. And of course, that means I have 21 cards left. I'll probably do like a stream sometime later on and all that. The 21 card salute and all that. Up the middle, off the middle, just past Numinous' glove. That's a single for Polanco. So, up Starting to get there. Arizarena is coming to the plate. Like, they got rid of they are neutralizing the big dumper, but unfortunately, Julio Rodriguez basically is proving himself as, a Seattle icon. And who am I to argue? I don't argue at all. I think Julio Rodriguez is a good player. Arizarena strike 2 on that one. Well, my aunt's has WWE Raw on upstairs, and they stripped Seth Rollins from the heavyweight belt. Like, that's not the main belt. The WWE title is the big belt, but yeah, the heavyweight belt. Seth Rollins is no longer the heavyweight champ because he's actually suffered an injury in at Crown Jewel at the pay-per-view. Well, or PLE, I guess you can call it. And of course, he got tsunamied by Bronson Reed last Monday on Raw to basically put him. He's on the shelf for at least 6 months. That's what they said. So he's swinging a miss, strike 3. And Rosarena took a bad pitch and he swung and missed. The good news for the Blue Jays is the damage is only 1, but that was a home run by Julio Rodriguez. He's proving that number 44 is a heavy number and not just Mike Cameron's number. 2-1, Mariners. After 3. So, yeah, sports is big and all that. Baseball will be off for 3 days until, baseball, the World Series starts and all that. Mariners will play the Dodgers. I think it's going to be a disaster in TV ratings in Canada and in the U.S. because if the Mariners win, you play the Dodgers. It's basically a West Coast series, and the East Coast people will be probably not willing to take a flyer on the World Series. And then, of course, you got Blue Jays, Dodgers. Like, America's going to go for the Dodgers. Like, there's no way that any American is going to pick the Blue Jays for obvious reasons because of the whole brouhaha with nations and all that I don't really want to get into for obvious reasons, of course, because it's not really that important. Yeah, so I've got some videos to create in a sense. So, yeah, the women's intercontinental belt's on the line. Of course, the women's never had a women's U.S. or women's intercontinental belt in WWE ever. I think they had that in WCW. I don't remember, but I doubt that highly. So, yeah, so Maxine Dupree versus the man Becky Lynch, who's an icon in the WWE in history of women's wrestling. All that. And that will be a ball to Lucas. Kind of have to keep focus because it is the Blue Jays at the plate. So yeah, Nathan Lucas needs to do something here. Blue Jays need to do something here. All two that gets away, but it doesn't even freaking matter. So yeah, there's a new world tag team belts. Like that's not the main tag team belts. I think it's like the Raw tag belts. Dragon Lee and the phenomenal AJ Styles. I mean, AJ Styles was a legend in TNA and all that for years. I remember watching TNA of him, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, and Kurt Angle competing in it. And, being icons. 2-1. Swing and a miss. I was in the zone. Strike two. So, yeah, the Blue Jays really want this. They really need this and all that. I want to watch the World Series and all that. And that's a foul. Truth of the matter is, I might be doing a passing interest in the World Series if the Blue Jays lose and it's the Mariners Dodgers because like almost every expert said that the Dodgers are going to crush the AL champ. A lot of people actually said that it's mostly because they have the advantage and all that. Lions looking good against the Bucks. Good thing I went with Detroit at home instead of Baker Mayfield. But anyway, yeah, the Lions looking solid. 2-2. And a swing and a miss. Strike three on that one by Kirby. So yeah, the Blue Jays are trying their best. They're going a little slow because the whole 3 innings per hour rule and all that. Although the game did start at 8:10. So yeah, for like speed and all that. Here's Flatty. Oh shit. I wonder if you should just wait out the pitches and all that. Oh boy. I don't know though. That was a little too inside on him. I would have waited. And all that. Pitch. Well, that was a terrible swing by Kirk. That was way out there. Yeah, he's been basically hot and cold at times and all that. So Blue Jays trying to win this ALCS and all that. This is their 8th crack at the ALCS can. They've only won 2. This is Seattle's 3rd crack at the 4th. Sorry, 95, 2000, 2001. This is their 4th crack at the can for the ALCS, and they're trying to finally get a World Series bid. Kirby trying to go back, trying to see if Kirk will swing, and he ain't swinging. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So that's what we do. Kirk. Is that a catch? Oh, well, he would have been out anyway. So the Jays can't match the Mariners this time. It's 2-1. So, yeah, it's just huge and all that. Yeah, the Blue Jays were the most improved team in the major leagues with 20 wins. They had 74 last year, and then they moved to 94. Even more so than the White Sox, had that disastrous season, but they improved by 18. October 20th. So, yeah. My voice is gone. My faith isn't. We want the World Series. Yep, and they'll get the World Series on home turf. For 1, 2, 6, and 7, of course, they would have to head to LA next week, 3, 4, 5. So, yeah, Bieber is still in the bump. Schneider's got to have confidence in his starting pitching and all that. Most likely, Bieber will probably start like game 3 or 4 of the World Series if we have that thing. So someone's warming up. Is that Brandon Little? Well, they're not giving me a number yet. They're probably saying a lot on the American version on Fox, but not on Sportsnet. Ball 1 to Suarez. Blue Jays down 2-1 here in the fourth. He lays it off. Ball 2. Bieber's at 55 pitches now, so this has got to be tough. Swing and a miss. Strike on that one. Yep. Who's up? Farland. Number 77, throwing those 100-mile-per-hour darts. The Ray Bork, as I call him. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. No, I don't really know any other good baseball players that were 77. Well, hockey, obviously. Basketball, not even basketball. Football, well, that's pretty much an offensive lineman's number. Well, technically. Of course, now they've changed the rules for numbers for players. Swing and a miss. Suarez took a massive hack and whiffed. Went fishing and can't cut bait. Fourth with. He's fuming at himself and all that. The pain will go away if the Mariners win this game. Yeah, so expansion mates and all that. As I said, to me in a LCS, it's happened once. I can't believe no one's getting the trivia question. I know it has happened before. 1-0. Crawford. And in the strike zone, strike 1. Blue Jays trying so hard to win a trip to the World Series and all that. 2-5 in LCSs. I mean, yeah. Before 1995, the only way you can make the playoffs is to be in the LCS and win your division and all that. No wild cards, no nothing. Because if we did like the 4-team system in baseball, how many times did the Blue Jays be at an AL East runner-up in the past? Like between 1977 and 1995 with the wild card thing the way it is. I know 1984 they were second, but those Tigers, like, you really think you were going to catch those Tigers? Yeah, 84 again. 84. You have, I believe, 88. Yeah, 88 they were run up. 87 they were de facto runners up because they choked against the Tigres. 1990 they lost on the final day against they lost the division on the final day against the Red Sox. Not against the Red Sox per se, but the Red Sox beat the White Sox, and then they basically lost the division. Crawford did not offer. So you have, what was it, 84, 87, 88, 90, and that's it. 94, they weren't even close. So there would have been 4 more playoff spots, like on a wild card. Crawford to left field. I think that's fair. That is fair. That's a double. So JP is coming off the Get off the board, off the floor, on the board with a double. So, like with the 14 format, it's like you win the AL East, you play the wild card team in the AL West, or like the second best team. Like you play the second best team in the AL West. And definitely the fair for a double. So the Blue Jays, in essence, in 1984, would have played the Kansas City Royals. And I think they probably would have had the 84 Royals. Not the 85 Royals, but they would have had the 84 Royals. Probably would have gotten butt whipped by the Tigers in the ALCS. 1987, they would have faced the Twins. Maybe, just maybe, they would have had the Twins. I think they probably would have had the World Series in essence. But I think the Tigers would have taken care of them. And then probably the Cardinals would have won the 1987 World Series. 1988, they had that second place finish. They would have played Oakland, got their asses handed to them. 1990, they would have faced Oakland again and got their asses whipped. So, 2 out of 4 in hindsight. Rivas swings them at strike 2. So, yeah. So, I think they probably would have gone to none of the World Series. But, you get through to the second round. 9. Okay, so 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to count my stuff down. Believe. I really don't want to believe because, Justin Bieber. Swing and a miss, strike 3. But, yeah, you got Rivas to go low, cut bait. And why don't you deflate? He. So, yeah. So, anyway, yeah. So 2-1 to Robles. Yeah, so just got a few videos to upload today. Like, Yep. So, yep, it happened. Yep, there's only one LCS matchup. Can think of one. Other than Seattle Toronto, of course. Surprised no one's got it. All right. You're free to research it if you have to. I know I have the answer. And I know the answer. People better not throw a bad one to Robles. Like I said, he should not have thrown a bad pitch. Now he's got 74 pitches in 4 innings. That's a little high. Well, that's the end of that. He has to go with Farland. Bieber's has thrown 74 pitches in 4 innings and all that. Okay, if you throw 74 pitches in 6 innings, fair, but you're in 4, so you've got 18 pitches an inning. Bieber tried as he could. Farland's going to come in to try to stop the bleeding. I know there's not really bleeding, but there is bleeding. All right, so Minnesota is now taking a 2-1 lead on the Rangers. Philly and Seattle have tied, still there. Buffalo, Montreal still tied at 1. So Minnesota, who has the goal? The second goal for Minnesota was by Danila Yurov. You're off your game. All right. I can only imagine how much Blue Shirt Underground is going to go bonkers on Wednesday night, if they have a show Wednesday night. I'm just trying to think. I don't think the Rangers play on Wednesday, so New York Rangers. Yeah, the Sharks come to town on Thursday, but they don't have a game Wednesday, so that's probably the next Bouchard Underground show. And then they have to head to Western Canada plus Seattle for a 4-game set that starts Sunday night. So they have to go to Calgary, then Vancouver, Edmonton, and Seattle. I'm actually awkward. It's like Calgary, Vancouver, Edmonton, Seattle. Fine, but like, why is Edmonton between Vancouver and Seattle? It'd be a lot easier to go from Vancouver down to Seattle. After Calgary, Edmonton, then Vancouver, Seattle, or Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Seattle. A little puzzled by that. I am. So yeah, they got a big Western road trip on their path. The Leafs, on the other hand, my team, but everyone knows that. The Leafs play the Devils tomorrow on home turf, and then they have a home and home with Buffalo at 7:00. So yeah, they play Friday in Buffalo, and then Buffalo comes to town on Saturday. They have a game against Calgary at 6:30 p.m. That doesn't sound right. On October 28th. Is there like some kind of doubleheader or some bullshit? Oh, the NHL on October 28th is like staggering times by like 15, 30 minutes. That's kind of interesting. So next Tuesday, Pittsburgh and Philly starts at 6, and then they go to 6:30 for Calgary, Toronto, and then Columbus, Buffalo at 6:45, Anaheim, Florida at 7, others, Buffalo, Boston at 7:15, Vegas, Carolina at 7:30, Tampa, Nashville 7:45, Winnipeg, Minnesota 8, Detroit, St. Louis 8:15, Washington, Dallas 8:30, Ottawa, Chicago 8:45, New Jersey, Colorado 9, Utah, Edmonton 9:30, Rangers, Vancouver at 10, Montreal, Seattle at 10:30, and LA, San Jose at 11. That's interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, 6:30. That's the staggering thing. And then next Wednesday, guess where they're going to be, Cleveland baseball fan? Guess where the Leafs are going to be? In your neck of the woods next Wednesday. And then next Saturday, they're in Philadelphia. They don't really have a massive road trip. Well, they actually have a big road trip starting JFK Day, November 22nd till December 4th. They have 6 straight on the road. Grandpa the 3rd, 1 out. Yes, sir. There's the out. Farland gets the out. No damage this time. And so the Leafs have a 6-game road stamp. They have to go to Montreal, and then they don't play till Wednesday the 26th. Then they go to Columbus, Washington, Pittsburgh, Florida, and Carolina. And then really road trip. And then they got to go through what they call the Central, the mountain. Like they have to go through their mountain road trip in January. January 12th in Colorado, January 13th in Utah, then in Vegas, and then Winnipeg. So yeah, they do a mountain trip in January. And then at the end of January, they do the 4-game road trip like that the Rangers do. So like on the 29th, they go to Seattle, January 29th in Seattle, and then January 31st in Vancouver, then February 2nd in Calgary, and then February 3rd in Edmonton, and then the Olympic break, and then they go to Florida, like the state of Florida, for 2 games and all that. And that's the only major. Oh yeah, they got to go to California for 3 games, and that's in March and April. They go to St. Louis, and then they go to Anaheim, San Jose, Los Angeles. So yeah, so that's how everything works out. As of now, I'm assuming that Detroit's looking good against those pesky Bucks, and got a check mark, and that will be win number 11 for the pick'em and all that. That would be pretty good. That's not going to be the most wins in a week for me this year. It's still early. Historically, I do a lot better in the middle section of the week, like not the start of the year or the end of the year. It's mostly the middle of the year because I kind of get my services and all that. So now we go to the bottom of the 4th, 1-0, down 2-1. The Blue Jays are, and this will be a little bit tantalizing. All that. I did my videos right. Yep. I hope I did everything right. I better have. Yeah, those three. I think those three go. That's 1.5. We'll just do that one. Yeah, so 5 more videos come up tomorrow. So yeah, 5 videos will come up at 10:15. Like I'll set up my 5. Hopefully I can throw 5 out there. George Kirby is still on the bump for the Mariners. Of course, if he doesn't go 5, he will not be eligible for the win. You have to go 5 innings as a starter to be eligible for a win. You could be tagged with a loss even if you don't get anyone out. Like the first batter, Farshall takes a strike. Farshall's got an RBI single. Like his batting average sucks in the ALCS, but he got an RBI. That's what matters the most. Ooh, nope, they didn't go for it. They did not go for it. Gabe Spire is on the bump. A bullpen pump, left-hander. Of course, that's the thing. Are they really, what's their plan? Are they going to let Kirby go 5 innings because then he'll be in line for the W? In a Game 7, that's not the worst thing ever. I mean, you want to win a Game 7. And make history, especially if you're the Mariners, because it's the first Game 7 in Mariners history. And the second in Blue Jays history. All that, but anyway, 1-2. Partial ball 2. I'm just trying to think. Has a team been in multiple Game 7s and lost them all? And all that. I want to know what the percentage is. All-time standings. There we go. Oh. Okay, there we go. Pitch in the way. Partial foul. Okay, so I got the all-time standings. So the Blue Jays are only 5 teams are winless in 5 teams are winless in Game 7s and all that. Only 5. Swinging at my strike 3. So 5 teams are useless. The best percentage in Game 7s are Arizona, Florida, Tampa, and Washington. All perfect. Oh, okay, great. It says 3 teams have never played a Game 7. The White Sox, Padres, and Rockies have never played a Game 7. I'm actually surprised. The White Sox, for their long history, have not played a Game 7. Yeah, they did play Game 7 in 1919 in the World Series, but that was best 5 out of 9. So logically, it's the best of 7. So yeah, that's actually pretty impressive for Game 7s and all that. 5 teams are winless in Game 7s, and that includes, that's going into tonight. Blue Jays have only played 1 Game 7. Philly has only played 1 Game 7 in their history. I'm amazed for how long they have been around. They have only played 1 Game 7, and that was the LCS against the Diamondbacks 2 years ago. You would think they probably played 1 other Game 7, but they didn't. Brewers and Orioles are 0-2 in Game 7s. I know Game 7 yeah, that's right. Brewers Game 7 misses were 1982 in the World Series and 2018 in the LCS when they were hosting the Dodgers, and the Dodgers pulled that one off. And the Orioles 2 Game 7 losses, 71 and 79, both in the World Series. 79 hurt the most because they were up 3 games to 1. Clement? Fuck, why did you go for that one? That was ball 4. Fook. Take the pitch, and then you want to know what their 3-2 is. Ay, ay, ay. Impatient. But there's one team that has lost 3 Game 7s and all that. Yeah, so one team is 0-3 in Game 7s and all that. So I'm just trying to think the 3 Game 7s. I know, okay, that one. What's the other Game 7? I don't remember. In a best of 7. Oh, yeah, okay, I know this one. Yeah, and I know the third one. Okay, so yeah, 4 teams are perfect in Game 7s. Washington's played 1 Game 7, and that was the World Series against the Astros. So we're going to miss strike 2. Tampa's played 2 Game 7s and won them both. That was 2020 in the ALCS and 2008 in the ALCS to advance to the World Series against the Phillies. That was them in 2008. That was them. 1-2. Didn't go for it. Yeah, that's right. Tampa did that. Florida 2 Game 7 wins. The first one was 97 in the World Series, and the second one was NLCS Game 7 in 2003 when everyone thought the Cubs were doomed after the Bartman game, but there was still Game 7, and the Cubs were hanging with the Marlins. Barger, right up the middle. So a big hit for Barger. There, we're back in it. Arizona's 2-0 in Game 7s themselves. 2001 in the World Series, and then 2023 in the NLCS. Okay, so we got that one. Games played in Game 7s. 3 teams have played in at least 10 Game 7s. And no, the Dodgers haven't either. Brooklyn/LA is 5-4 in Game 7s. So yeah. Up the middle, Frank. You didn't have to do that because you just needed 1 out. I think you forgot how many outs, but they still got the outs. They need it. All right, so yeah. 3 teams have hit at least 10 Game 7s. Boston, they're 4-6 in Game 7s. The Yankees are 6-8 in Game 7s, and the Cardinals have 11 Game 7 wins. They have more Game 7 wins than any other franchise has Game 7s except for the Yankees. That's frightening. 11-5. And the Cardinals actually, yeah, the Cardinals lost their last one in the NLCS 9-0 to the Giants. Only 9 times as the 2 teams met in 2 or more Game 7s. Well, you could probably guess Dodgers Yankees. Yes, Dodgers Yankees have met 4 times in Game 7s. 47, 52, 55, 56 in the World Series. There are 4 other multiple Game 7 matchups have happened in the pre-LCS era. Tigers Cardinals met twice in the World Series in Game 7s, 34 and 68. Yankees twice, 26 and 64. Red Sox Cardinals twice, 46 and 67. And Braves Yankees, 57-58. In the post-LCS era, Orioles Pirates have met twice in Game 7s, 71 and 79, both in the World Series. Giants Cardinals 87 2012, both in the NLCS. Braves Pirates 91-92, both in the NLCS. And Red Sox Yankees, both in the ALCS. Well, actually, yeah, it makes sense because the wildcard runs best of 5. So, yeah. So, a lot of Game 7 stats. And I find that. So, yeah, Bieber, try as he might, he just didn't have it in him. Because of one guy, only one guy, and that's Julio Rodriguez. Take away J-Rod, and this would be a better time for the Blue Jays. But, I mean, it's Julio Rodriguez. I mean, he was a big prospect when he came to the Mariners. And it's proving everyone wrong, right? Sir Anthony is up in the pen, and so is Fluharty. Oh, woo! Wow. Oh, no fucking way. To the big dumper. Well, he dumped on us. Yeah, Cal Raleigh is now one step closer to being ALCS MVP. Like, there's no fucking way it's anyone else other than that guy. It was low in the zone, but Farland, I think, was aiming a little low. He's fuming now, but, 3-1 Mariners. Well, the Jays have come back from 2 down against the Mariners. Naylor to center field. Hangs up there for Mr. Dalton Varsho. Man, you got to be feeling for Blue Jay fans because the Blue Jay fans are basically trying to make sure that they don't get their inner leaves because the whole game 7 shebangs and all that. And that guy is eating the popcorn out of the dish like he's so indifferent. Of course, I think that Fox and Sportsnet have the different feeds and all that. Polanco swings and misses. Well, fouls it off. Man, this is. Can you imagine Canada being deflated and all that? Cal Raleigh putting his shin pads on because he's the catcher. You would think with Cal Raleigh's bat, you would probably make him designated hitter, but Seattle doesn't really have a good backup catcher, so like Dan Wilson. Like I would take Dan Wilson in his prime. I would put him if he got to be on the 2025 Mariners. I'd put him as catcher and put Cal Raleigh as DH. I mean, no disrespect to Jorge Polanco, he's a good DH. Right to Flatty. He wasn't sure if he caught it on the fly. He got him out anyhow, so 2 outs for Arezarena. Yeah, you can kind of guess that in Toronto, the whole the dome will be deflated and all that. Obviously, it can't really be deflated because it's not air supported like the Metrodome was. Haha. 3-1 is the game. Oh, he went. The umpire says yes, he went. He crossed the plate 5 for 23 in the ALCS, but he did hit a home run. So, and then he strikes 2 on that one. Yeah, like I said, if the Blue Jays do lose Game 7, I'm pretty much not going to watch the World Series. I'll probably just casually care about the Mariners, Dodgers until someone gets to 3 wins. And a foul at the plate. The joke will be on Seattle. They would have to start the World Series on LA soil because the Dodgers have more wins than the Mariners did. So yeah, that's the plan. Randy will float it up. Should be an easy catch for IKF. It is, but unfortunately, though, another home run, this time by the big dumper. Of course, it would be Cal Raleigh trying to screw over the Blue Jays. It's 3-1 Mariners through 4.5. I don't know if they're gonna let Kirby finish. If they're just gonna let Kirby pitch the 5th and leave him because, after all, I mean, live run line and all that. A lot of people are pretty much fuming and all that. Oh, someone's trying to get on. Believe. Yeah, trying to get the Believe sign on the TV and all that. Yeah. So, yeah, let's talk about World Cup, the FIFA World Cup that's coming to Canada for 13 games and all that. So, three countries. So there's 20. What did they say? 26. How many teams? 3, 6, 10 is Jordan. 14, 18. Algeria, 20. 24, 28 teams. There's 28 teams have qualified out of the 48. So 28 of the 48 teams are in for qualification. And 4 of them have qualified for the first time. Well, Qatar qualified. Yes, this is their second World Cup, but they didn't qualify last time. Like Qatar got in as host, and a lot of people were pissed off because obviously Qatar should not have been given that World Cup because they basically had blood money and all that, and England got screwed over and many other countries. They did host a good World Cup and all that. But yeah, so 3 new countries are in. Uzbekistan, that actually has done well in the Asian Cup. Uzbekistan, a former Russian republic. Jordan, not the name, but the country in the Middle East. They've got a good soccer team, but they've qualified. And Cape Verde. Yep. Don't know much about Cape Verde, the nation and all that. But yeah, Cape Verde played it. They played their first national match in 1978. That's pretty impressive. And all that. Yeah, 1978. Portugal. So yeah, I think they were close to Portugal. Became independent from Portugal in 1975. And Cape Verde is the big story. Oh, they're putting Woo out there now. I'm actually surprised they didn't let George Kirby finish the 5th inning because that gives them the win. And I don't. So yeah, so Cape Verde has qualified. That's the big one. Because they now are the smallest nation by land area and the second smallest by population behind Iceland when they qualified in 2018 to make the World Cup. That's kind of impressive. Yeah, they became independent from Portugal in 1975. So one of the newer countries and all that in the world. They've been to 4 African Cup of Nations, been to 2 quarterfinals, including the last one in 2023. So, all right, not so bad. Yeah, Jordan's team in Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan actually made the semifinals of the 2011 Asian Cup and all that. So, yeah, Uzbekistan, for football because, the Soviet Republic and all that. Yeah, it was part of the USSR and all that. So, yeah, Uzbekistan had some chances and all that, but they did it. They got themselves into the World Cup and all that. And then the Jordan team, they actually made the finals of the Asian Cup, taking second in 2023. I think they've had a few chances and all that. That's what I think. Yeah, Jordan would face Uzbekistan in the Intercontinental Confederation playoffs. Jordan won, but then they got paid by Uruguay to get into the 2014 World Cup. So, yeah, that was amazing what they did. All that in Jordan. Owen to Springer, runner on first. So Woo, trying to woo everyone, but he is not. Swinging by strike 2 on Springer. So here's who's in the World Cup. Canada, Mexico, and the United States as hosts. There were rumors that 1 or 2 of them would have had to qualify, but nope. Fortunately for us, that's good news. For Canada, this will be the 3rd time we are in the World Cup. Why did he swing at that one? Frick. We haven't got out of the group stage. In fact, Canada, we've only scored 2 goals in 6 group stage matches, and we haven't won or even tied one. Mexico, this is their 18th time qualifying. Their best has been the quarterfinals in 1970 and 1986. They've made it through 9 straight World Cups. The last World Cup they missed was 1990. Yeah, 1990. They got in trouble for fielding overage players in youth tournaments, and Mexico was disqualified for the 1990 qualification group. And that's kind of how the Americans got in because, if Mexico was in instead of the United, then the Americans probably would not have qualified for the 1990 World Cup and all that. So, yeah, Americans took third in 1930, but of course, 1930 soccer was different than 2022 because of travel. Picture the way? Hi. So, this is the 12th time the Americans have qualified. So, total times qualified. Oh, that's so Uzbekistan was part of the Soviet Union, but that doesn't count. Jordan's first, third or second. Qatar, they're second. They lost in the group stages. New Zealand is in for the third time. They won the OFC third round. Round ball, shit. 6-4-3, money in the bank, ka-ching. So, yeah, New Zealand, this is their third time in the World Cup. They failed to get out of the group stages in their two appearances, 82 and 2010. So, yeah, and New Zealand famously tied Italy and ruined Italy's chances to qualify. Egypt, this is their fourth time in the World Cup. They haven't done much. They've been in what they call the group stages all three times. South Africa has never gotten out of the group stages in their three previous attempts. So it has Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast. So yeah, that's big. Senegal, this is their fourth time. They made the quarterfinals in 2002. Their first appearance was one of the greatest debutantes of all time. I mean, they played France in the first game of the 2002 World Cup, and Papa Bouba Diop, who's now deceased, scored the winning goal. And then Senegal got to the quarterfinals. They beat, I believe it was Sweden, wasn't it? Yeah, Senegal beat Sweden. I would have said Denmark, but no, England beat Denmark to get to the second round, the next round in 2002. But yeah, Senegal beat Sweden on golden goal, and then Turkey beat them by golden goal. Ecuador, this is their fifth time in the World Cup. They went to a Sweet 16 in knockout stage in 2006. Algeria, this is their fifth time. They've only been out of the group stage once, and that was 2014. Ghana, their fifth time. They went to the quarters in 2010, trying to get Africa, their first team in the semifinals. Unfortunately for them, they ended up losing to Uruguay in that infamous game with Luis Suarez with his hand up. Iran, this is their seventh time in the World Cup, but they have not they have not beaten the group stage. 78, 98, 06, 14, 18, and 22. They've been there. So, yeah, that's amazing. Their seventh time. They've never been out of the group stage. Never past the group stage. Australia, this is their seventh time. They've been to two round of 16s, including the last one in 2022. Colombia, this is their seventh time. Their best was the quarterfinals in 2014 after their win. Was it against Ecuador? Yeah, it was Ecuador. I think it was Ecuador. Yeah, when Jaime Rodriguez had the bicycle kick. Morocco, this is their seventh time in the World Cup. Their best finish was fourth in 2022, becoming the first African team to make the quarterfinals. Tunisia, this is their seventh time. They've never been out of the group stage themselves. 78, 98, 02, 06, 18, and 22. They've won a few games, but they have never been out of the group stage. Serenity is coming to the mound. Saudi Arabia, this is their seventh time. They made this round 16 in 94 thanks to Saeed Awa's goal. Niham, this is their eighth time. They've been four-time round of 16 losers. Paraguay, this is their ninth time. They made the quarters in 2010. Americans, their 12th time. Korea, this is their 12th time in the World Cup. Their best finish has been fourth in 2002. Uruguay, this is their 15th time. They're two-time winners. England, their 17th. Mexico, their 18th time. Argentina, 19th. Brazil, 23 times. They have never missed the World Cup. Never. So, yeah, there were a few things and all that. Confederation, final position for the third round. Iran, Uzbekistan, Korea, Jordan, Japan, and Australia qualified for the World Cup. Qatar and Saudi Arabia won mini groups to qualify. Emirates and Iraq. Suarez to left, nice catch. The United Emirates and Iraq will face each other, and the winner, I believe, goes to the Intercontinental Playoffs, right? Yeah, the winner goes to those interconfederational playoffs, Iraq or Emirates. I'm hoping the Emirates, because the Emirates did qualify in 1990, and Iraq, well, fuck, no one wants Iraq to qualify for obvious reasons. Oman and Indonesia actually got fucked. Now, North Korea only took 3 points in the qualifying group. China only took 9. Indonesia was better than China. It would have been nice to see China have a chance. In Africa, 9 groups, 9 Africa. Well, let's take a look. Iran, Jordan beat Iraq by 1 point to get into the World Cup and all that. And Oman beat Palestine by 1 point to get into the fourth round of the playoffs. And in Africa, it's Egypt, Senegal, South Africa, Cape Verde, Morocco, Ivory Coast, Algeria, Tunisia, Ghana. Senegal only beat Congo, the Dominican Republic. No, the Democratic Republic of Congo by 2 points. That was close. South Africa nipped Nigeria and Benin by a point. Nigeria is a pretty good team and all that. Ivory Coast beat Gabon by a point. We almost saw Gabon to get to the World Cup by a point, and that's been the closest. There is a second round, and 4 teams will go on and all that. I believe that means what? So they're doing an African second round stage. 1 single league final in Morocco. Well, the winner will go to the intercontinental playoffs. So the winner will have to go to those confederational playoffs. Nigeria, Gabon, Cameroon, and Congo. DR Congo will face each other. By points. Burkina Faso, Niger missed out. Madagascar, Uganda, and Namibia. Baby. Any major... Zambia only had 9 points. Angola once went to the World Cup, but they only had 12 points in Group D. Even worse than Libya. They have fallen off the map. Togo, 2006 World Cup team, they're falling flat. They're even worse than Sudan. All right, CONCACAF right now, they had their qualifiers and all of that. They haven't done yet. They have to play 2 games against everybody, so there's still 2 more games to be played. Right now, Suriname, Jamaica, and Honduras would go to the World Cup. I mean, Suriname. All I know about Suriname is that they had that swimmer win the 1980 gold medal of the 1980 Olympics in Korea. Suriname and Panama both have 6 points. Well, Panama's a decent team. Guatemala only 5 points. El Salvador 3. Group B, Jamaica with 9. Carousel with 8. Trinidad has 5. They used to be in the World Cup. But Carousel, Carousel actually is a tough team. They have given Canada fits in the Gold Cup as the North American Championships. Bermuda's been eliminated. Nicaragua, I don't think can qualify. But they have a small chance. Honduras with 8 points. Costa Rica with 6. Haiti with 5. Those 2 countries Costa Rica and Haiti have been to the World Cup. Ranking of runners-up would make the intercontinental playoffs. They have 2 countries. Oh, because North America, there's 2. So Carousel and Costa Rica would make it. CONMEBOL, that's in those pesky. CONMEBOL, that's in South America. Everyone's played. Argentina, Ecuador, Colombia, Uruguay, Brazil, and Paraguay all had 28 points or more. Bolivia took 7th. They're in the confederational playoffs. Gosman's on the bump in the bullpen. They beat Venezuela by 2 points. Peru and Chile both have been to World Cups, but they have fallen flat on their ass. Oceania, they only got 1 guaranteed spot and then a possible 2nd spot. So New Zealand beat New Caledonia, and New Caledonia goes to the Interconfederational playoffs. UEFA, their stuff is very much like up in the air and all that stuff. So like it's complicated. Very complicated. Yeah, so there's going to be a 6-team confederational playoff. 1 from Africa, 1 from Asia, 1 from South America, 1 from Oceania, and 2 from CONCACAF for the last 2 FIFA World Cup berths. The bottom 4 teams in the FIFA World Rankings will be drawn into 2 matches, and the winner of those matchups will play against the top 2 teams in single elimination matches, and the winners will go to the World Cup. And the playoffs will be in Mexico, as we are allegedly seen. So, Guerrero, ball 1, pitch on the way. Up there in the strike zone. Yep, so born ready. The cute picture of Flatty Jr. in his Montreal stuff with Mr. Flatty Sr. and all that. So, yeah, 1-1. He golfs and he misses that 3-iron. So, yeah, so right now it's Group A of qualifying. Every team that wins in Europe, there's 12 groups, and you win, you qualify. Simple as that. Right? There's 12? Well, they have a total of 16, and then there will have 16 teams will go into 4 playoff paths to qualify. So right now, Germany and Slovakia both have 9 points. So, yeah, Slovakia has been to a World Cup. 2010 comes to mind. Flighty fouled it off. Germany's been to many of them. Northern Ireland, 6 points. They've been to a couple of World Cups in the past, 58, 82, and 86, I believe, are the early 3 ones. Luxembourg is out. Group B, Switzerland leads Kosovo by 3 points, with Slovenia and Sweden slipping a bit. Even Sweden, 1 freaking point. And Sweden's the country that knocked Italy out of the World Cup in 2018. That's kind of awkward and all that. Sweden will need a miracle. I mean, Kosovo is getting better. They've been to a Euro, I think. Switzerland, well, they've been to many World Cups. Slovenia even went to the 2010 World Cup. Flighty takes a foul. Group C, Denmark and Scotland both have 10 points. It's a dogfight to see who win it. Right now, by goal differential, Denmark would have the trip. Scotland would have to go through the qualification rounds. Greece and Belarus have been eliminated. Greece has only been to a few World Cups and all that. Of course, 2004 Euro champs. Belarus has never been to a World Cup. Group D, France looking pretty good. They're up with 10 points. Ukraine with 7. That would be good for Ukraine to make the World Cup, especially with the whole wartime thing. Iceland only has 4 points. They need to be minnows and all that. Azerbaijan probably will not make it. And Flatty, he had a swing and he misses. Spain with 12 points in Group E. They've got 12 of a possible 12 points. Turkey's got 9 points. So Turkey would get into the Confederation playoffs. Spain, Spain. Georgia might not qualify. Bulgaria, who went to the 94 World Cup and took 4th place at a shocker. One thing. Why not? Group F, Portugal looking pretty strong with 10 points. Hungary, Ireland, and Armenia are fighting for that intercontinental playoff potential. So, yeah, Hungary with 5 points. Ireland has 4. They've been to a few World Cups. Armenia has 3 points. They have never been. Group G, Holland looking pretty good. Poland is second with 13. They would be in a fight. Finland has 10. Lithuania and Malta are definitely not in. Finland, they've never been to a World Cup. Group H, Austria would make it in if everything happened today. Bosnia is second. Romania with 10. Cyprus with 8 points, but they're eliminated. San Marino can actually qualify based on their nation's league ranking because they won the UEFA Section D Nation Leagues thing. That would be actually creepy if San Marino freaking gets in on that merit. But yeah, Bosnia with 30 points. Romania, they've been to a few World Cups when they dyed their hair blonde. Norway, perfect 6 for 6 in things ahead of even Italy. Italy, Norway could make the World Cup. And that would actually be big because Norway, with Erling Haaland, one of the best strikers around, would get in to World Cup, unlike George Best, who never got in. Italy with 15 points. Israel almost might not make it. Estonia is definitely not making it. And Moldova still has that thing because of the Nations League ranking. And they'll get the pitching coach because that's definitely not Dan Wilson's number. Group J, Belgium leads North Macedonia by a point. Wales has 10 points. Gareth Bale would love to make another World Cup appearance. Kazakhstan's not making it. Liechtenstein will not make it. Group K, England 6-6. They are definitely in. They have 2 games left, but they don't need to worry. Albania leads Serbia by 1 point for a qualification spot. You have to be top 2. It doesn't matter. Serbia is not too happy and all that. I know some Serbians. Latvia and Andorra are out. Group L, Croatia looking pretty good. They're at 16 points. Czechia with 13. Faroe Islands has 12. It would be a shock if Faroe only gets one more game. Yeah, Faroe has one more game in Group L because, you get 2 matches against the 4th, so that's 8. I don't know who Faroe gets. I think it's Croatia. Montenegro and Gibraltar are not. I got to need that. So Faroe still has to play Croatia. That's a tough one because the last cycle, November 17th, Faroe's off. So they have to do something against Croatia to make things happen. Croatia, Montenegro, they'll probably have to put some restrictions. But yeah, Faroe beat Czechia. Like, Faroe's 1 point back. They could qualify for the playoffs. Marshall to right field, damn. It would have been nice. But yeah, so that's basically your stuff for the World Cup and all that. So that's the World Cup update. November, you'll see more teams make it to the World Cup. So yeah, that would be big. All that. Here's Ernie Clement. Blue Jays down 3-1. It's about 10-10. So we're going to get some stuff happening and all that. So my guess is that, Jaguar Gators doing the Texans Seattle live stream, which I think definitely means 24-9, 4th quarter. What's that clock say? Just 4 minutes? Yeah, so I'm kind of going to be looking for Jaguar Gator 2. Ground ball, that's going to be a flip ball. So Clement can't do anything. Toronto just can't do anything about it. 2006 Memorial Cup final. Well, I can't do that because, you're a silly little guy. 24-9, 4 minutes left. If Detroit can score some points, I think they're safe. So, LA. Oil of LA. At that. So, anyway, yeah. Fourth and 8. So they're going to. Oh, sorry. They're at the Detroit 15. I was about to say. Well, Tampa has no timeouts. Desperation time for Toronto. Gosman is on the bump. 3-1. Well, if Gosman, I don't know if Gosman would start Game One of the World Series if the Blue Jays come back to win, because like I know you got 3 days of rest, but will it be fully rested? I think Trey might even start Game One of the World Series, or you go with Scherzer. Of course, the Blue Jays need 2 runs. It's not out of the question. I mean, I look at it this way: Bassett is pitching. Why the hell hasn't Bassett been pitching? He was cleared to pitch in the LCS, but like, why couldn't you just put him out in the bullpen and all that? Like, even in Game 5, instead of Brendan Little, you start Bassett. I mean, remember, it's 2-2, and anything can happen in a Game 5. So yeah, but you got to be desperate. Strike 2 on Gosman. I think Bassett, was it Bassett or Barrios whose injury actually got Savage pretty much up to the majors? I think it was Barrios, but Barrios isn't really up to pitching and all that. Robles, no sir, that's a foul. A lot of people will be probably saying that if Bo Bichette was healthy, the Blue Jays would be going to the World Series. Yep. So pitch in the way. Fouls it again. Second one. Yeah. The Mariners are facing the Texans and all that. I mean, you got to be nervous for those Seahawk fans because, they're watching football. And at the same time, the Mariners are in the LCS against the Blue Jays. Didn't get Robles to go. Payoff pitch coming up. So, anyway. Six, 4, 3, Money in the Bank. Ka-ching. There we go. J-Rod's out. So, yeah. So, yep. So now it's on Eddie and Sean, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep, they're running out of time. Since. Eddie wins, eh? Yep, Eddie wins over Sean. Wow, Eddie won. So Sean's so Eddie wins. So he has a chance, some chance. Down to 9. Sean's up second. Well, that's one. So me and Petra, I think, get the better. Yeah, I think so. Well, anyway. So yeah. So now Gosman's losing it. I don't know how he's losing it. Oh, Lions Kachi. So that's it. So the Lions win the game. The Lions are going to sleep tonight. Okay, so that's big. Yeah, Mariners are 1 for 6 in running scoring possession, but they're still freaking winning the game. So 11-3 in Pick'em. Pretty impressive. If Seattle can just do the job, well, the Seahawks, that's 12, and at least that's an 800 winning percentage. That's pretty good. That's always good. 12-3. So 5, 2.18. Actually, can I change that? Yeah, I can change that. Yeah, I'll change that. There. I'm just trying to make sure I get the 5 things out there. Swing and a miss, strike 2 on Polanco. So, yeah. Blue Jays are so close to get out of this inning alive. Runners on first and second base. Oh, that's a joking. Okay. 2-2. Chopper the second. Easy play. Yes, sir. Yeah, like I said, that was easy. So 7th inning stretch time. Mariners are up 3-1. Say, take me out to the ball game. We'll be back. Yeah, so OTP, you're going to be in for an offensive slugfest, unlike the ALCS today. So yeah, everyone's just like trying hard to not to laugh, if you will. Hmm. So, yeah, this is going to be hard pressed and all that. So, nobody has talked about the stuff and all that. Kind of pathetic. But yeah, so yeah. So, yep. So, yeah. So, yeah, so not only has Cleveland had the longest current World Series drought, they actually have the longest the worst game sevens thing, 0-3. Here's Addy Barger. 1-2. Brian Wu is trying to woo the Mariners faithful here. And Barger fouls 1-1. So yeah. Brian Wu of Chinese descent. I thought he was from South Korean descent because Korea does have the Wu in everything. Pitch on the way. Hi. Oh, that almost worked out quite well. Yep, that did. All right. 3-1. Basardo in the pen. So Basardo. How Basardo? Pitch in the way. Ball 4. That's big. I think this LCS, I don't think there's been a save situation in the ALCS. I don't think we've ever had that. Well, the Mariners, no, sorry, Munoz saved in the ninth. That was a safe situation. Other than that, 7, 9, 6, 4, but it wasn't a save, and 4. Yeah. Game 1's the only game that has had a safe situation. IKF decided to bunt for it. Yeah, so game 1 was the only time that the closer came up for a safe situation. It was neat. It was 3-1. Other than that, it's been like at least 4 runs in the ninth inning. Right on the way. Fell long. Obviously, you can't bunt because you bunt foul. That's strict 3. Blue Jay fans are around the world are just basically hoping and all that. Pitch. Chopper up. No, base hit. And Barger will hang on. So it's first and second. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Well, Jimenez comes to the plate. So we are in the bottom of the 7th. First and second. They're probably going to get Pizarro out there. Kind of just up the gut. That's a big hit by lucky number 7. And Barger saw J-Rod with the ball. And Julio Rodriguez does have a good arm. Well, I think, that's the pitching coach again. That's 36 pitches from Wu. I'm actually surprised they're letting him throw that many pitches out in relief. I mean, after all, you need to win this game 7. Now Jimenez. Now he has had a pair of home runs in Seattle in games 3 and 4. So, he is a home run threat in a partial sense, but hopefully he is. Every Blue Jay fan is worried. There's a guy in the metallic J look from 2004 to 2011, which didn't sit right with Blue Jay fans. And then in 2012, they went back close to the original designs, kind of the designs of the 1992 and 93 jerseys and all that. Well, Jimenez is 1-for-1 with a pair of sacrifices. Pitch in the way. He's going to bunt way away. Ball one on that one. Smart move to bunt. He's got a single and a walk. So if anything, he can do it. 6 RBIs in the ALCS. The question of mind blips will be, if the Blue Jays win, who's the ALCS MVP? Because I would say Flaherty in a sense, but probably not. Nice bunt. That is a perfect bunt. And now runners on second and third with 1 out. And Springer comes to the plate. Well, you can walk him to go face Lucas and all that. So we'll see what ends up happening. I'm thinking they're probably going to either intentionally walk Springer or go, yep, Wilson's out. Basardo is going to come up to the plate. Come out and all that. So it's 3-1. I'm just going to deafen for a little bit and be back. All right, we're back. Basardo is facing Springer, runners on second and third. They're not going to walk Springer. I mean, you could, and Lucas comes to play. He's not really the best hitter around, but you'll see. Wide ball one. So, yes, runners on second and third. If Springer can loft one, that should be enough to score 1 run, to make it 3-2. And, you'll never know what could happen. Springer to left field. Deep, God, sink it by that one. Holy Saint Laurent. Georgie Springer. Hey there, Georgie boy. That is a big home run. You really slide. Maybe that might be the death The death freaking blow. Wake up, Georgie boy. How about that? I think they should have intentionally walked him to get to Lucas. Boy, oh boy, that is one hell of a mistake by the Mariners, I must admit. Oh, and that man who's got the ball, Toronto number 4. Holy Toledo. Damn right. Holy Toledo. Clear baseball fan. Holy Toledo in freaking deed. It's 4-3. I did not think that was possible. Well, so yeah, holy Toledo indeed. Now what's going on? There's a problem? I don't know what's going on, but wow. Jeez. I can't really recall a home run as dramatic as that in a game 7. As far as I know, I think 2020, they said when Tampa beat the Yankees, there was a home run off of Chapman that was very dramatic for game 7. Because I don't think there was dramatic home run in the 2023 ALCS game 7 or the NLCS game 7. I can't believe it. Man, oh man, oh man. That has got to be a blow to the Mariners. Like, that just, what the hell just happened? So things have changed. They have really changed. Lucas fouls it off 1 and 2. Yeah. My thinking was they're going to intentionally walk Springer. This should be number 2 for all the time. I had a Batista. Carter's number 1. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. Lucas, that's a base hit. Okay, so he would have got a hit. Head of Batista. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But that's a little bit debatable. Batista's home run, the bat flip, and all that. But can you imagine, man, oh man. As I said many times in these videos, I said that was the bit fly to the left. Oh, shit. I thought that would have been a drop for at least a looping single. Nope, that's an out. Okay. Now that changes things up for the Blue Jays. Because, well, I don't know. The Springer, who's the ALCS MVP? If anybody. I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head who really has earned it. So Bassett is still in the bullpen. Maybe Springer, maybe not. I don't know. Part of me says no. Or they might even give it to Cal Raleigh, even though that he's a losing player. I mean, that's a rarity. I think LCS has it ever never done that an LCS MVP has been on a losing team? I don't think it's ever been done. But I think they'll give Cal Raleigh it. Ball 1. I don't know where they are in the batting order with the Mariners, because I think with Cal Raleigh, they're probably going to intentionally walk him. J-Rod, what are you going to do? No, sorry, J-Rod grounded out to end the inning. So Big Dumper will be up leading off the 8th, I think. Kirk didn't go fishing. No fishing for ye. So, man, I can't believe it. Can you imagine all the Blue Jay fans just turning off their TVs and then they hear, there was a 3-run home run. Man, oh man, oh man. Kirk should have swung at that one, but it doesn't matter. The Blue Jays now have a 4-3 lead. Unfreaking believable. I can't believe it. Yeah, that guy in the Toronto number 4 jersey, like the football style jersey, he's got a souvenir. He's definitely going to get $1 million Canadian for that ball, I bet. So, man, this is dramatic. Because remember, the Blue Jays win. They are hosting the World Series because they beat the Dodgers by a win. I'm going to deafen for a little bit. I'll be back. Well, Basset Hound is on the mound for the Blue Jays. Finally, he pitches in the LCS. Ground ball to short, easy play. Yeah, Arizona. Okay, so that's 5. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1. Yeah, so the way it goes is that if the Blue Jays, Fluharty and Hoffman, if the Blue Jays, the Mariners go down in order, then Raleigh is up, cleat up for the 9th. You got to think that in mind. Blue Jays better score in the 8th, in essence. Even if the Mariners score, the Blue Jays should score in the 8th themselves, because if they don't score in the 8th, those could be problems. I'll say that much right now. Yeah, I know in 3 days of waiting, wanting. Oh, come on. That's a strike. Come on. Suarez. Well, Suarez was chasing Cal Raleigh for ALCS MVP, but Raleigh, with the home run today, is the Mariners candidate. I don't know who the Jays candidate would be. Maybe Springer, because of how dramatic the home run was. Yeah, that kid is saying, what? That's a strike. Nah, that was a ball. Munoz is pitching with Spire. I think they got to put Munoz in. But the question on my mind is, what are you going to do in the bottom of the 9th? Hypothetically, if the Mariners do take the lead in the 9th, that's a strike. That's in the zone. Strike 2. That's a makeup call, I think. I mean, can you imagine all that? Anyway, 2-2, 1 out. Oops, that got away from Basset Hound. Yeah, a healthy Bassett would be big. But the question on my mind is, yeah, the starting rotation will probably be Gosman, Trey, Bieber, and Scherzer. Well, Bieber, I don't know. I don't know. Do you take one of those two out and put Bassett in the same rotation or all that? I don't know what Toronto will do. At least they'll have 3 days to think about it if they hang on. And they do get the World Series on home turf because they have won more games than the Dodgers. So, yeah, 2005 MLB season. Oops. What am I doing? 2005. Cutter. 2025. Son of a hockey pucks. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, the postseason. Yeah, the Dodgers won 93 games. The Blue Jays won 94. Swing and a miss. Big strikeout. Big strikeout. Yeah, 94 to 93. If there was a tie, then it goes to the team with the team that won the 3-game head-to-head because every matchup, every team had to face their NL rivals at least 3 times in a thing. So yeah, that's the way it goes. So that is the biggest question in the world. 2.2 gigs. Chopper, the short, throw the first. They're 3 outs away now. Unreal. This is unfreaking real right now. Blue Jays, we better get some insurance and all that. We need the insurance. Yeah, by the way, I thought I tapped it. Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, I'm going to deafen for a little bit. I'll be back. This is just unfreaking real. You know how nervous I am? Very freaking nervous. So Munoz is coming to the plate. No earned runs in 7 innings. It also raises the question that if the Mariners do take the lead in the 9th, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep Munoz on, or are you going to try to get someone with a save? That's always the main question. So now this is what you came for. 4-3 Blue Jays. Pitch in the way. Sharp fly ball, single. So Farshow gets a single. All right. Maybe Springer. Yeah, maybe Springer, I guess. But I mean, knowing my dumb luck, I'll probably give it to big dumper Cal Raleigh. Now Raleigh is up fourth in the ninth. I know that because they went 5, 6, 7, and then it's 8, 9, 1, 2. Cal is number 2. Clement 0 for 3. He's got to get out of this slump somehow, in some way. The pitch in the way. Bunt, but he tapped a foul. Okay, whatever. Whatever. So, man, oh man, oh man. You gotta believe that it happens. So, anyway. Pitch. Nope. Now, did it go? Nope. Ball one. Yeah, I mean, this is a good pitcher. So, yeah. It's a safe situation for Hoffman and all that. Well, Bassett, is he going to continue on, or are they going to go with Hoffman for the night? Out of the 3 ALCS, the Indians won. I only remember Andrew Miller, maybe Hershiser, 1997. I would say Tony Fernandez, but, I don't know. Who was the MVP of that one? Oh, Grissom. Okay. And that's a base hit. Going for third base. Oh, man. Farshow saw that coming. He saw that coming, boy. So, big hit. Big hit, happy body, as Mr. Baseball's taught me. So now Barger's on. The question, so now with Barger, yeah, that's a big hit. That was gutsy by Farshow. He is a decent runner. And when he's healthy, I mean, he had 20 home runs, and how many? He barely played 100 games. He didn't play 100 games in the regular season, but he still had 20 home runs. That was pretty good. Man, a lot of people will think, well, Arizona probably won that trade with the Blue Jays because Gurriel's been decent, and so has Gabriel Moreno, the catcher. Barger, if he can just lift one. Addy Barger, well, he's got 4 RBIs in this thing. I think if he hits a home run, then he's got to be the odds-on favorite because that's 7 RBIs in the LCS. But what else? Strike, 99 on the gun. I mean, yeah, infield will be in. Well, Hoffman is the only one in the bullpen, so they're going to go with him. I really hate when they squat. It looks like they're taking a dump. Pitch. High ball 2. So that's just holy shit. Can you believe this? Barger, right at Naylor, he doubles him off. Ouch. That hurt. That hurts. Probably was hoping the ball would drop, and then they put the double play. Yeah, the fan. Barger, he got good wood on it. Right at Naylor, and yeah, you really think that Naylor was going to bobble that step back? The Blue Jays, I think, were hoping for it to drop. Here's IKF. If I were them, I would put Turkey in the straw to pinch hit, put him or Lord Perfudo. I don't really have my confidence in IKF. Of course, they got to think of this. Hung the runner right there. Yeah. Well, IKF knows a base hit makes it 5-3 and gives the Blue Jays a little more breathing room. Not perfect breathing room. Mariner fans are really exhaling. I got to worry about the NFL score. I don't even know I don't have the update for the Seahawks and the Texans. 0-2. Didn't get him to chase. Ball one. So, yep, it will be Hoffman definitely will be coming up in the 9th inning. He has had his share of blown saves, but, he knows. Kiner, foul. Way foul. Barger hung the runner out to dry there. Yeah, Barger was hoping that the ball had dropped because the double play and maybe, just maybe, you start the runner. Or maybe just Varsho fakes moving home and then that gives Seattle headaches. I can't. Damn. Well, that didn't work. But there's still time. There's one more chance. Hoffman's going to come out. 4-3 Blue Jays. We go to the top of the ninth. This is like so nerve-wracking. I have to deafen for a short while. I'll be back. Bit of an update that one of my Facebook buddies, Marty Can, over in the UK, who's still up and it's almost 4 a.m. in England. They're 5 hours ahead of us. Like basically still up and all that. Yeah, Blue Jay fans, they want it all. Man, it seemed like the Blue Jays were going to have the terrible offense from game one. Miles Straw is now in defensively in left field. David Lucas was to right, so Barger is out of the game, obviously. And now Jeff Hoffman for one of the biggest saves in Toronto Blue Jays history. 1 earned run given up in 6.1 innings. He's trying to close it out for one of the most, if not the most important save in Blue Jays history was Mike Timlin in 92 in the World Series. You're thinking 93 World Series, what about that? Well, technically it wasn't a save. The Jays were down 6-5 headed to the bottom of the ninth when Carter launched that 3-run home run. It's kind of like Roberto Osuna in the ALDS against Texas. He's going to try to drag bunt, not so fast. That's a strike, biatch. Leo Rivas, 1 for 13. I would pinch hit for him, honestly, because he has not really done too much. But I guess with the drag bunting and all that, they're going to need something. I'm expecting my phone to blow up. And all that. 0-1. Nope. Too low. 1 ball, 1 strike. This is it. The Toronto Blue Jays are 3 outs away from one of the biggest wins of all time. One of the biggest wins in the 21st century, must I say. Pitch. In there, strike 2. 95 on the gun. So this is it. The apocalypse. Whoa. Is that Eugene Levy? That is Eugene Levy. I recognize the eyebrows. But he should be wearing his glasses because he's more known in his glasses. Whatever. All right. 1-2 pitch. Coming up. Seattle fans are trying to believe. The Blue Jay faithful are not trying to kill those Mariner fans. Hopes. Rivas does not go. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yep. Like, biggest Blue Jay wins of the 21st century. I mean, yeah, Blue Jays Rangers in game 5 of the ALDS. That's big, but this one will be even bigger because it's a trip to the World Series. Bouncing. And the fact that the Jays had not won a playoff game in 9 years up to this year was huge too. They're warming up a couple people. Oh, come on. I hope it's not Braden Fisher or Miller. Fisher. Getty Lee is looking. Pitch. Swing and a miss. 2 to go. Swing and a miss. Oh my gosh. 2 more outs. 2 more outs. Well, Raleigh's up 4th. So if any Mariner gets on, they're more than likely they're going to walk Barger. I mean, Julio Rodriguez has done damage too today. Well, Raleigh is not on deck. Canzone is coming into pinch hit. Canzone, the calzone, as I call him. That's ball 1. He's 2 for 21. I talk about how bad Farshall is at the plate in the ALCS. This guy was worse. He's 2 for 25. 1-0. Popped up. Oh, by about a few feet into the backdrop. Strike 1, though. J-Rod on deck, and then you got Cal Raleigh. Boy, oh boy. This will be a tough situation for the Blue Jays. I mean, J-Rod has been nothing but trouble today, and Bart and Raleigh has been trouble all series. So do the Blue Jays do their Canadian politeness, or do they just basically say, screw it, we're walking you? 1-1. Way up there, 2-1. Hoffman did throw a few innings yesterday. I thought that was meaningless because, the Jays had that 4-run lead. You wait him for a safe situation because you probably might need him for a few outs. But whatever. 1. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Okay, so it's 2-2, 1 out. Yeah, I'm going to be probably on a little sleep and all that, if I can get to sleep and all that. I might try to go sleep naturally and not need my medication. Well, Canzone is out there. I don't know who else do you have to pinch hit. Swing and a miss! 1 more to go. 1 more to go. It's not going to be an easy out, though. It's J-Rod. Julio Rodriguez. Now, you obviously can't walk J-Rod because the next guy's Raleigh. And I don't think you intentionally walk 2 straight guys. He's 2 for 4. So the 2 hits he had a homer and a double to start the game. We've gotten him twice. Yeah, you take your chances on him. Too high. One pitch. Wide, 2-0. Yeah, you have to get him out because if you don't, Raleigh is due up. And that's not kosher. Swing and a miss. He went fishing and got nothing. 2 balls, 1 strike. This is just nerve-wracking. So the clock has hit 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Is that Peter Mansbridge? No, that's not Peter Mansbridge. Foul ball. Strike 2. 1 more to go. 1 more to go. 1 more to go. Two. Nope. Ball 3. My God! Pinch me, I'm dreaming! Pinch me, I'm dreaming! My God, they did it! They did it! They did it! The Comeback Kids did it again! That was our MO! That was our MO the whole year, was the comeback. We had the most comeback wins in Major League Baseball this year, and boy, we needed that one. George Springer's home run, I think, is the number 2 home run in Blue Jays history behind Joe Carter. I didn't think this would happen. You know what? Toronto had their inner Raptors. George freaking Springer. You know what? I think he is going to be the ALCS MVP. Wow. The more I think about it, the more I'm emotional because of the fact that, I wish, my dad was around with the Blue Jays winning the trip to the World Series and all that. Because without my dad, I went to Blue Jay games every year with my dad from 1993 to 2007. And then I lost him 5 years ago to pneumonia. And now, I lost my coworker, Eric Markin, to a heart attack. He and I would always be talking about the Blue Jays and everything else at the start of things. I just feel something up there. I really do. I really do. Well, I'm going to give you the 7-card shuffle, of course. So, yeah, might as well. So, yeah, so we will end this. Yeah, we will end this with 7 cards, and then we are going to basically end the stream, because I technically have to sleep and get to work for 8 o'clock. So, yeah. All right, so cards been shuffled randomly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're too late, troublemaking cat. You black cat. Too late. The Jays won. You didn't jinx us this time. Sorry. All right, so here are the 7 cards. The other 21 will be, I'll probably do a stream sometime soon. Good night. Enjoy the win. Buenos noches. Buenos noches. I think that's good night in El Paso Caballeros, trying to be in Spanish. All right, so here we go. Card number 1. I have 7? Yep. Card number 1 is a Guardian, Angel Martinez, rookie card. So another Cleveland player. So Angel Martinez, I don't think he really did much with the Guardians this year. First. Okay, next is Twin Juan Duran. Pretty good player. What position is he? He's a pitcher. Duran, the pitcher. Duran. I think did Boston pick him up or someone? I can't remember who picked him up. I think the Twins still had him. I keep thinking the Twins had him at the end of the season, but you never know. But yeah, Duran with the Twins. Next up is Array Curtis Mead, second base. Fermented mead is alcohol, if you must know, or something else. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, Curtis Mead. That's 3. 4 more to go. Angels Gustavo Campero, rookie card. Yeah, getting the unknowns and all that. Campero. Okay. That's 4. 3 more. Next up is Bobby Witt Jr., icon of the Kansas City Royals. He's a pretty good player. Shortstop, right? I think he's the best shortstop in Kansas City history. I know, yeah, you could say Freddie Patak or even Alcides Escobar, but I think Bobby Witt Jr.'s got to be it. I mean, his father, Bobby Witt Sr., was a pretty serviceable pitcher back in the day, back in the 90s with Oakland and Texas. So, yeah, Bobby Witt Jr., great player. I mean, I'll admit that. He's a pretty good player. First Kansas City hitter to hit a batting crown in 34 years when he did it. I think the last one was George Brett in 1990. But yeah, guy played his heart out. So Bobby Witt. Next up is the batting leaders for the AL. He beat Vladdy Guerrero Jr. and Aaron Judge last year. I didn't know Vladdy was second. That's pretty good. Yeah, Toronto Blue Jays winning a batting title. I think John Oduor was the only one. Yeah, he's the only one. Interesting card. And one more card. It is a Cub. Shota Imanaga. Topps All-Star rookie. In his first season with the Cubs, Imanaga. The pride of the Cubs picking up someone like that. I think he was pretty good this year for the Cubs. So those are your 7 cards. 7-card pickup. I'm actually going to take a look and see if there are any Blue Jays or Mariners in this set. Oh, there's a Blue Jay. There's a Blue Jay. I'll just pull this out of the thing It says the firemen. Nah, not really interested. Oh, I got a card. All right. There is a Toronto Blue Jay, and his name is Andres Jimenez. They freaking should be putting on, like a lot of these cards, they should be putting on, like, on the back how to pronounce these names, because I feel like I've been screwing over it and all that. Yeah, but Cleveland icon and then got traded December 2024. Big trade. So, yeah, I got Jimenez in a Blue Jays outfit. I couldn't find any Mariners. That was not on purpose. I was looking. But anyway, yeah, that's set, deck set. So anyway, that's it. But there is a little bit of a problem. There's a little bit of a caveat, because here's what's gonna happen. Here's what's happening. My buddy Bill Lang, he is coming back from Florida on Thursday, and he'll probably want to get together for the World Series games 1 and 2 and all that. So that's gonna be pretty big and all that. Of course, that's big because, that might cut my streams down, but that's okay. I've done live streams for the series against the Yankees and the Mariners. I mean, I'm not scared to say, hey, you know what? I'm thinking either game 1 or 2, I'll probably be streaming for sure, but I'll have to figure it out. I'll have to talk to him about that. Obviously, he won't be in my streams because he's not going to want to be on YouTube. I'm actually surprised he hasn't called me, but whatever. So anyway, that's it. I'm gonna fill the 3 hours 15-minute time limit here. So yeah, so the Blue Jays are in the World Series. That's the good news. The bad news is they're against the Dodgers, and they have been pushing the limits, especially Ohtani-san. I mean, Ohtani was scary enough last year, and with Freddie Freeman. Now the problem is going to be that Ohtani can pitch. The question now, because the Blue Jays, is will Gausman be able to go for game 1 or not? My guess is that if he can pitch game 1, fine. If not, Trey will pitch game 1. He's Savage. Well, Scherzer will probably pitch 2 or 3. I mean, Scherzer should be starting. Bassett, is he going to have enough to be a starter and all that? Well, I think Gausman might pitch game 1. I'm guessing that way. Gotcha. So anyway, yeah. And this little thing wants you to subscribe to my videos and all that. So if you are watching this and everything, don't let this cat get sad. Subscribe, comment, do whatever you can. I mean, you don't have to watch all my videos. You just have to subscribe, and then you'll look at the videos and see, and you can pick and choose. All that. Usually you're so vibrant and bouncy. But yeah, the black cat curse didn't work. Well, technically she's gray, so, she's a Russian blue. So anyway, Smoke is probably going to be bouncing around the balls for a few more minutes, huh? Put you on. There you go. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Jeff Diamond, and, I've got 3 days to calm down from this sugar high. Although, well, a lot of people thought the Jays were not capable of making the World Series, especially this year, especially coming out of spring training. I think the odds were like 5,000 to 1 or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, the Blue Jays have done it. We're going to the World Series, and we get to host the World Series against the Dodgers. This could be like 2019, because after all, 2019, the Raptors beat Golden State in the tiebreak to get home court for the NBA Finals, and of course, how big Golden State is. And then they freaking won the tournament. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Jeff Diamond. I might probably do a Tuesday night stream or in a Wednesday night stream just for the hell of it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Adieu.